The Torrent Nano by Fractal has caught my attention on the day it was released for two reasons. First, it's an SFF case. Second, it looks great. Today I'm going to show you what the case looks like, what features it offers, how big it is compared to NR200P from Cooler Master, and what are some disadvantages. Let's start with a quick unboxing. Inside, apart from the case, you will find some additional helpful accessories that make the case more versatile. One of them is a GPU bracket that can help you prevent GPU sag. The second one is an adapter that allows you to install AIO water cooling or radiator of up to 240mm or two 120mm fans if you don't like the one you get as standard. Doing this, however, will reduce the maximum length of GPU you can install from 335 to around 267mm, which means that most free fan GPUs will not fit in there. Of course, if you plan to do that, you can just go with a dual fan design and still be good. The case also comes with 3.5-inch disk tray that allows you to install one HDD and one SSD drive, as well as one 2.5-inch tray right behind the motherboard that allows you to install additional two SSDs. In total, you can install three 2.5-inch drives and one 3.5-inch. The build quality of the case is really good. It combines glass side panels, metal frame and plastic elements on the front, top and bottom. I must admit that I was a bit disappointed that the front grille, which looks just amazing, wasn't made from metal, but this would make the case cost much more and weight much more as well. Even so, it's the centerpiece of the case that makes it look really unique. It's also one of the two main intake points for fresh air, second one being at the bottom where the GPU is. Both the front and the bottom have a fine mesh filter that should reduce the amount of dust getting into your case. When it comes to ease of build, well, it's not too bad. I mean, this is still a compact case, meaning that some compromises have to be made, but on the other hand, we have a whole back panel to freely route the cables, and that helps a lot. You route the cables through grommets, which are placed in really convenient places, making the final build look rather clean. You should, however, plan out the cable routing before mounting your motherboard, as some of the connectors, at least on the B550i Strix that I'm using here, can get blocked by the top PSU cover, making it really hard to connect case fan and the RGB. But like I said, it's nothing more than what you get on, for example, NR200P. Planning ahead is the key here. The case supports ATX power supply, which is great as the SFX power supplies are sometimes hard to find and often pretty expensive. It also means that you can put much more powerful PSU in there. If you already have an SFX power supply, you can use it, but you will need to buy an adapter. The cable length is enough for the Corsair 750W SFF power supply if you don't plan to use a GPU that has more than two power connectors. Yes, the GPU cable just barely makes it to the connector, so have that in mind, but you can always buy a longer aftermarket cable or just get an extender. Another great thing about this case is that it supports really high air coolers. The legendary Noctua NH-D15 is going to fit in here, which shows that this case really focuses on air cooling builds. Thanks to the one big intake fan at the front, support for big air coolers and ability to mount additional 3 fans, one at the back and 2 at the bottom, we get really great cooling performance even for high-end builds. There are a couple of things I'm not so fond of, and the first thing is size. I thought from the graphics that this case will be slightly smaller. Of course, it only matters when you have a very limited space on your desk and you want your case to be as small as possible. The size of the Torrent Nano is closer to small towers rather than SFF cases. The difference in size between the NR200P, which some already call a big SFF case, and the Torrent is noticeable. Like I said before, it has its advantages like the ATX PSU support, good cable management and bigger volume, which helps keep things inside cooler. Second is no option to mount the GPU vertically. For some it might not be an issue, but since we have support for AIOs and water cooling, it would be great to be able to have the GPU displayed nicely through the glass side panel. Overall, I think this is a great choice for people that don't necessarily need the smallest case and are looking for a good balance between size, functionality and looks, because let's be honest, the way the Torrent line from Fractal looks is probably the best thing about it. If you don't like the looks, I don't think there's anything in here that would otherwise make you consider this case. It's a well-built, well-ventilated case focused on air cooling builds and a great product overall. I can really recommend it if the price isn't a deal breaker for you. And this sums up today's review. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Laser and I'll see you soon.